Hello, my Polaris family. I hope you're all safe and well. Quick announcement about the next couple of weeks. So, because of the surging numbers in Medina and Cuyahoga County and the advisories of the Board of Health and government, our elders have decided, out of concern for the well-being of our Polaris family and the community, the elders have decided that it would be best for us to not meet in person on November 22nd and November 29th, the next two Sundays. So we'll do virtual only. Our virtual services will be released at 7 a.m. on our Facebook page, the Polaris Christian Church Facebook page, and PolarisChristian.com, our website homepage. So that's for the 22nd and the 29th. We are still going to deck out the auditorium for Christmas. Our hope is that we can meet together and worship together through the Christmas season. But out of concern for the well-being of Polaris and the community, our elders have decided that we're going to not meet these next two Sundays in person. Now, I want to talk you through the decision. I called those guys yesterday one by one as some of the advisories came out. And I said, guys, what do you think? I really think this needs to be an elder decision. And I talked with them about it, and I called them one by one. They did not know what each other had said. They did not expect the phone call. They hadn't collaborated on this, but one by one individually, they said the exact same thing. We need to not meet these next 2 weeks. So that's some affirmation from me. I also want you to know that those guys set aside their personal opinions about all of this and made the decisions that they felt they needed to make for the health and well-being of our church family. So I appreciate those guys. I respect those guys. Pretty incredible that they all said the exact same thing apart from each other. That means a lot to me. So that's the announcement portion of this. If you want to hang out, I want to talk you through. I'm going to talk you through. I've been spending a lot of time myself thinking about this, believe me. And I also have had many of you ask me, how do we know what's faith and fear, and how do we balance making these kinds of decisions, closing down in-person gatherings, which is a huge deal for me, obviously. Does that reflect a lack of faith? Where do we find calibration in all this? And so just if you're interested, here are some of my thoughts, because I believe that I struggle with this as much, if not more, than anybody else around here, because when I stand before God, I don't want to be found as lacking faith and being a part of a decision to close a Sunday gathering. So here are some thoughts. First of all, I was up honestly at 5 a.m. today, unable to sleep, just wrestling through announcing this decision and the impact, because I know it's controversial. Some people were really going to agree with it. Some people really aren't going to agree with it. And as a peacemaker personality, I hate that kind of scenario. So just went and sat in my chair and kind of silenced myself before God, as I do when I get all anxious, and invite God to speak to me and quiet my mind and my heart, so that I can think clearly and hear from God should He choose to speak. And as I sat there in silence, I got this imagery of my mind went toward exit signs and the staircase from our balcony in the church with a guardrail on it. And I did not expect that, but I started to kind of run with it. And I thought, we have exit signs in our auditorium and throughout our building in case a fire breaks out during a mass gathering, and we have guardrails on our steps so that people don't fall. We have safety procedures for checking in children so they can only leave with the parents that brought them. We have background checks for our children's workers, and fire extinguishers, and active shooter protocols. We have things in place because we know that we live in a fallen world, in a natural world where there's evil. We believe God's in charge, but at the same time, I don't think that those protocols and those safety measures are a reflection of a lack of faith. I really don't. I think we know that we control what we can in this world that we live in. It's just like getting mammograms or colonoscopies. safety cancer screenings. Uh, we control what we can in the world that we live in, and then we rely on God for beyond that, what we can't control. And I don't think that's a lack of faith. There are multiple places in Scripture where God or Jesus looks at a person and sort of says, what's that you have? They come to God for something, or he's going to lead them, and he starts with what they have. And one of the things we have is the ability to react to things in the natural world that create some safety for ourselves and for others. And so when it comes to canceling in-person gatherings for the next couple of weeks, what I want you to know is that our elders, myself, our staff, we want to do anything we can to protect our Polaris family, just like with the other safety things in our buildings, like exit signs. Hope it's not a lack of faith. I hope it's because we realize we can do some things. Now, if we're talking months and months out, years out, and there are other things coming to play where it seems like there's a more sinister, veiled attempt to keep the church from meeting, that's going to prompt a very different response from me anyway. This doesn't feel like that to me. This feels like, we've never had this before. Never in my lifetime has there been a pandemic and a virus closing in on a county. At least it feels that way. And so we're going to respond to that with some things that we can do to mitigate that. But if it looks like, months, years down the road, whatever, like there's a different kind of battle happening, that will prompt a different response. So for me, as I stand before God, I don't believe that this reflects a lack of faith. I think it's me and the elders and the staff doing what we can to protect. Now, other churches are going to make their decisions and they're going to pray about it, and they could decide the same things we decide or different things. So this isn't a reflection of what should or shouldn't be done. This is us making the best decision we can and being as obedient as we can to what we feel led to do. And then everybody has to kind of do their own thing to honor God as best as they can. But when it comes to wrestling with where faith and fear and balancing all of that, that's my thinking, and I hope it's helpful. Take it for what it's worth. Regardless, I will see you virtually on Sunday, and then the following Sunday, the 29th, virtually as well. And then hopefully we'll see you in the auditorium for the Christmas season. We will be back together and get through this before we know it. So in the meantime, be as safe as you can.